importance of science education in bringing about natural technological development in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. Various technological breakthroughs are emerging every day at our tertiary institutions, and this time we bring to you two innovative discoveries from the University of Lagos, Akoka. I'm Treasure Obasi, your host on the show. I'll be back after this break.
You're watching Young Inventors.
In previous series of Young Inventors, we featured projects from tertiary institutions like Polytechnic Ibadan, Bowen University Iwo, Osun State, and the Federal University of Technology, FUT, Mina, Niger State. On today's episode, we will bring to you a project known as the Printed Circuit Board of 6 students supervised by Dr. Henry Boyo, Physics Department, University of Lagos.
The theory behind electronics is basically that of silicon. The idea of converting silicon. Silicon is everywhere in sand, but it occurs in a contaminated form, in the form of oxide. So apart from, if you dig a sample of sand, you have silicon oxide, you have magnesium oxide, aluminum, and all various materials. How do you extract the silicon? The pure silicon can be extracted in a kind of purification manner. So these silicons are processed to form ingots. We don't have the facility here in Nigeria, but this has been done more than 60, 70 years ago. And from these silicon ingots, they form the transistor. An assembly of collection of transistors forms an integrated circuit, and that is what they call IC. You find the IC in your radio or your television and things like that. So the process of this operation of this electronic circuit is what we do in the training form, which we call the trainer. And that is why you have here something like a digital IC trainer, an equipment to use to train students to be knowledgeable in electronics.
The printed circuit board is the foundation of every electrical gadget in the world. There are various stages which starts from the design. A PCB is used to mechanically support and electrically connect electronic components using conductive pathways, tracks, or signal trace etched from upper sheets laminated into a non-conductive substrate.
Noiseless, fuelless. So all this fuel scarcity would be a thing of the past.
Innovation will always drive technology.
These children you see here are the leaders of tomorrow. Therefore, we should support activities that will ensure in the next 10, 15, 20 years, these people become the leaders.
So I do commend you, NTA, for organizing this, and I'm sure you will keep the flag flying.
Get inspired. Get involved. Young Inventors, Mondays, 5:30 p.m. on NTA Network Service. Innovation, creativity, young inventors providing technological solutions.
The Hardware Development Laboratory under the Physics Department of the University of Lagos, Akoka, supervised by Dr. Henry Boyo, was set up for purposes such as this. In the quest for training of students to develop the printed circuit board, which is the foundation of most electronics.
The Hardware Development Laboratory was set up for this purpose, to see how we can gear Nigeria into production. It's expected that in the year 2030, we should be one of the top economies in the economy in the world. But without productivity, without industrialization, how do we get there? It's not by buying and selling alone. And so we must produce. To get our industries into functionality, we need a lot of robotics. And robotics comes from automation. Automation comes from electronics. It's the role these electronics play in the industry that we call industrialization. So we want to train these children how to produce these substrates, how to assemble the circuits and get them functional, so that they can apply them when they leave school to make sure Nigeria grows to become an industrial world. Nigeria is not producing anything in electronics at all. We keep on importing electronics gadgets like mobile phones, video players, DVDs. We all import everything. And we need to show to these children that there is nothing special about producing these equipments. So the basic things they need is what they call the printed circuit board. And this happens to be the substrate on which all the components for either your telephone or your video player or your television lies. Even the computer, like the motherboard of the computer, is the substrate. And this substrate we don't even produce here in Nigeria. So we need to enlighten the students, and that's what they are trying to demonstrate to you, some of the acquired skills we have in the Hardware Development Laboratory.
Abraham, Cosmos, Kingsley, Ifunanya, Timmy, Ayobami are all interns at the Hardware Development Laboratory, Unilag. These 6 students will take us on the step-by-step process of producing a printed circuit board.
We have different stages which I'm going to take you through. We have the design stage, which is in the other part of the lab, which has to do with using software to do the design of the electronic devices. This software is called Proteus ICs. We have several other softwares that we make use of, but the one that is user-friendly and that most people know and that can easily lay their hands on is called Proteus. The Proteus is divided into 2 sections. We have the ICs, which is used for the schematics production. So I'm going to take you to the other side of the lab where you're going to meet one of the engineers who is working on the software aspect of the designs. This is Abraham. He is here to talk to you about the design aspects of ICs, making use of the ICs software.
While designing, a circuit that want to design has to be in place, like what I have over here. This is a PDF format of a circuit which I want to design now. It's called the LM386 audio amplifier. Now, we use the ICs to simulate the circuit. In getting a format or example, so we use the ICs to simulate it. First, we check the library. We identify all the components that needs to be identified there so that we know if they are in our library. Then we start picking them from our library by using their components name. Now, this is our T block. This is our variable resistor and electrolytic capacitor, a speaker, and a LM386 audio amplifier IC. So we start by picking our components. First of all, we choose our T block. I write it in the library, and it brings out different options. So I'm to choose my desired T block for this circuit. So I choose my T block, then I go over again and choose other components. The next stage is simulating. So I start placing the components, and after placing the component, I start joining their terminals together to achieve something similar to our sample circuit. After this has been done, the next stage is to confirm that the circuit is really working. It is in the right order. We save. After saving, we transfer to the arrays. This arrays is being used to place the component in its layout. So the arrays looks like this. So after everything, I place my components, I start my design. So when I design with respect to my ICs. So this is an example of what it will look like in the real sense. It's a 3D visualization. So I have to spin, and to show how the back and the front will look like. Then after this, I have to print it out. Because I've already seen my end work, how it will look like. I have to print it out using the printer. So this is the top stick. We use it as a guide in placing the components on the board. So the next thing, I'm going to print out the artwork. So this is the artwork. The artwork is what we use in transferring the circuit on the PCB or the copper board. So now in printing the artwork, I have to use a glossy paper. A glossy paper is used in this sense, not an A4 paper. After this has been done, I have to take it over to the next stage, which is called toner transfer stage.
I'm going to take you on the toner transfer. Here, the paper here is called the glossy paper, and the artwork on it is called the toner. Now, you are going to transfer the toner on the copper plate. But first, you have to cut the copper plate with a machine called guillotine machine according to the desired circuit. The precautions to be taken are: 1. First, clean up the surface of your board with a steel wool. Then, to remove the oxide surfaces. After that, you clean it again with a methylated spirit. To remove the oil which may result when you were cleaning the copper board with your hand. Then clean it off. Then the board is ready now for the toner transfer.